Tonight, Fox 8 takes a closer look at Louisiana's aging infrastructure.
Yeah, there are nearly 2,000 bridges in the state that are structurally deficient, and experts say the funding isn't there to repair them. Kimberly Kurth has this special report.
This is video of the deadly bridge collapse that happened in Italy back in August. It's something one expert we spoke with hopes will never happen here.
We know for the fact that these number of structurally deficient bridges are taking a lot more resources, a lot more people to continuously monitor them, continuously inspect them, and to make sure that kind of disaster wouldn't happen.
Cam Movasagi is a member of the American Society of Civil Engineers and a former secretary of the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development. He has concerns about the state's aging infrastructure.
They're getting older, and I hope we close those bridges before it gets to the point of becoming dangerous that the public cannot travel on it. And that's what the DOTD is doing. They're closing those bridges.
According to this data from the U.S. Department of Transportation, there are more than 1,800 structurally deficient bridges in Louisiana.
So we've looked at bridge conditions all across the state of Louisiana and found that in the New Orleans area, there are 88 bridges that are structurally deficient.
The National Transportation Research Group, TRIP, says a bridge is deemed structurally deficient if there is significant deterioration on the bridge deck or with its other major components. In a new report released just last month, TRIP ranked the 25 most heavily traveled structurally deficient bridges in our area. They include I-10 at Veterans Memorial Highway, I-10 at Loyola Avenue, and 90 at the Harvey Canal.
It is certainly alarming that there is such a high number of structurally deficient bridges, but in the New Orleans area, 12% of bridges are structurally deficient. Now that's slightly lower than the statewide average in Louisiana, where 14% of bridges across the state are structurally deficient. So it's not necessarily a good thing to be slightly below this or better than the state average when those numbers are still so high.
TRIP's CAROLYN Kelly says while the term structurally deficient sounds frightening, it doesn't mean it's unsafe to cross bridges with that title. She says they're maintained and monitored on a regular basis. But in many cases, they do need significant repairs or even replacement.
These structurally deficient bridges oftentimes may be posted for lower weights, or they might be closed if their condition would warrant that. Now that becomes especially important if these are bridges that are traveled by emergency response vehicles or school buses or any vehicles where taking a longer route to detour around a structurally deficient bridge might be detrimental. And obviously it's also a hassle for just regular drivers.
We wanted to know exactly what is wrong with each structurally deficient bridge in Louisiana and what repairs are being made to fix those problems. But our public records request was denied. The state told us that information is protected due to security concerns.
Typically when we have those types of reports, they're protected in terms of the safety and security of the bridge. One, because of the risk of folks that may want to do harm to the traveling public, but two, we tell you very simply what that number is.
The state's Secretary of Transportation says he is concerned by how many structurally deficient bridges there are in Louisiana, and it's something he takes very seriously. He tells us he's closed 24 bridges this year alone. How do you determine if it's not safe for the public, and what happens if it is deemed unsafe?
Well, first and foremost, we take our responsibility for public safety very seriously, and we have annual and semi-annual inspections on all bridges, not just state-owned bridges, but locally owned bridges as well. And we've got over 12,900 plus bridges here in the state of Louisiana. And if it's unsafe, it's a closed bridge.
But he says those closures come with a big cost to taxpayers.
And at the end of the day, we're spending anywhere from $125 to $150 million a year on bridges. And so every time a bridge closes, I have to spend money in an emergency repair as opposed to building the types of bridges that we need.
And TRIP says many of the bridges are structurally deficient because there simply isn't enough funding available to make needed repairs.
Given the aging nature of the state's transportation system, we'll continue to see increased deterioration and a higher number of structurally deficient bridges if the state isn't able to adequately invest in the transportation system.
We have the 4th largest bridge deck area in the country, and so to do the bridge work, I have to spend more money than what my counterparts might have to spend, not to mention that they have increased their revenue and this state hasn't.
The expert we spoke with agrees Louisiana needs additional funding to replace the bridges he says have reached the end of their line.
We are one of the highest structurally deficient bridges in the country. This is something that as the bridges get older and get to the end of their life, they require more attention, and God forbid, if that attention suddenly is not there, then a disaster could occur.
To see if the bridges you travel each day made the list, just go to our website and look for this story. There you will find a breakdown of some of the structurally deficient bridges in our area.